guys, and welcome to the first tutorial on our channel. Today we will be covering how to draw hair. If you would like to get a result like this, then please stay tuned. So for hair, you're gonna start with drawing a sketch. The sketch is very simple, it's just a rough silhouette. I use Clip Studio Paint, and for a sketch I use this brush, which is basically a very textured pencil brush. You can use any brush you'd like for the sketch. This will not be visible later. After the sketch, we draw the line art. So the line art is basically a cleaner sketch. You can remove the sketch now, it will not be necessary anymore. I use the same brush for both my line art and my sketch. However, with the line art it is a lot cleaner. It can still be a little bit messy in some areas, but in general it's a very clean sketch basically. And I like to color my line art. It's going to be lightest in areas like this, where it is like the hair is finished, if that makes sense. It's almost transparent. So it's going to be lighter there, and it's also going to be lighter in areas like the fringe, since skin is light and skin is right underneath it. Unless your character has dark skin, in which case the line art can just be darker around the face. So the next thing are base colors. I settled with this pretty red. Red hair is very fun to draw. However, you can obviously settle for any color you would like. Next, we have basic shadows. For basic shadows, I used a round mixing brush. It's basically just exactly what it says. It's round, it mixes colors. It has both smooth and sharp edges, with the sharp edges being here and the smooth edges being on the ends. For the shadow, if you look at this color versus this color, this is main shadow. I do not shift on the color wheel yet. That will be a later thing that's definitely very important, playing with the color wheel. But these are just basic shadows. It's basically very flat. It just adds a little bit of form. So shadows have to follow the lines of the hair. So let's say the hair has to start somewhere. So imagine it like strands that have to connect to the head. So it can go like this. And then the shadows follow that shape. As for space buns, like I had done here, you can see it on this one. It's basically almost like shading a croissant. It just follows these slightly tapered lines that come out from the skull or the head and make these little circular almost shapes. Just make sure they all follow the same taper, so you won't end up with something like this, but with something like this. The next layer is an undertone. Imagine if this is in the natural setting with a blue sky, then the light is bluish. That's what we're assuming here. So the hair in the background, as it is further away, is going to be slightly covered with a bluish almost tint. You want to do that on the hair that is in the background, and you can also see the color up here is less grayish than down here. So the hair that's closer to the cranium is more saturated basically and closer to the base color.
Good!
So in this layer we cover reflective light or bounce light, basically assuming the sky is still blue. If the blue light hits the fringe, it gets reflected and caught in these little crevices. So basically anywhere where you have a shadow where the light gets caught, you're gonna have these bluish tints. Realistically, this is basically just like a pinkish gray once again, but it does look blue. The next layer, basically fleshing out the background hair. With fleshing it out, I use the same brush and just smooth long strokes with a thicker brush along her silhouette. So let's say the hair moves like this, we're gonna have strands like this. Next up, we have even more fleshing out, this time with highlights. Once again, follow the form, so no horizontal strikes, for instance, and basically avoid the shadowed areas. Next, we have even darker tones, so basically you're gonna use those in areas where, once again, I gave her an ombre, so the tips are gonna be darker. You're gonna use them to flesh out areas where there's a natural shadow, like here. And also, this is a personal stylistic choice, but I like to put these darker shapes in areas where I'm gonna put highlights. This basically adds more contrast to the highlight and makes it pop more. Here you can see I did use the blur tool a little bit in some areas, basically to just give it that smooth edge. We have highlights. So basically with highlights, as you can tell, there's a lot. I placed a general highlight around here, as since the light is coming from about here, the back of the hair is gonna catch a bit of light. And I also put a general highlight on the space band plus the light source. As for small highlights, I placed them basically exactly where I placed the dark shapes beforehand. And I draw them with the exact same method of little blob, erasing into said little blob, and just leaving it like that. So I use Add Glow to add just a little bit of an extra highlight. On the bangs, since the skin here is supposedly pretty bright, I color pick the skin tone and just airbrush it over the bangs. Since hair is slightly transparent, you would normally see the skin color through the thin layer of hair that bangs are. The details adds a lot of texture. I use 2 brushes really for this. I use a watercolor brush, and I use that to add strands basically anywhere, and also to flesh out big areas like here by adding basically bigger, darker strands. I also add more contrast using it in areas where it wasn't that dark, like over here or over here. Textures, the dots, the famous dots, and I place them in areas where there is supposed to be a bluish tint that looks purple and is pink. This is basically to help that illusion of it being blue. This is it. This is how to draw her. You can obviously draw this all in one layer. There is no need to make so many layers as I did. This was basically for educational purposes. I usually use about 2 to 3 layers. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope the video was helpful. If you would like to have a live free drawing classes, then please join the server, the Discord server that will be linked in the description, and see you guys next time.